Dana, we're here.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're on.
So now you gotta watch what you're saying.
I have a thought.
There he is.
Give me just a second, my recorder went off. Oh, no,
You get the prayers, they do like.
what?
Pick somebody else.
I'm gonna start doing this by surprise, so I'm not.
You
No
tried
advance
it 2 weeks
notice.
ago, all right.
I'm just kidding. I'll take care of it.
Well, I mean, Mr. Willow do it, he lied to me in the hallway.
Yeah, he's probably boycotting you.
Oh.
He basically said, oh, don't worry about it, the judge isn't here yet.
Who said that?
Mr. Willow.
The time is 9:02 a.m. or 9:03 a.m. I'm going to call the B County Commissioners Court notice of regular term meeting for Monday, June 8th, 2020 at 9 a.m. located here at B County Courthouse, Commissioners Courtroom, number 110, 105 West Corpus Christi Street, Beeville, Texas, 78102. To order. Going on to agenda item number 2, prayer. If everybody would please rise and join me. Dear God, please guide us towards wisdom and grace as we execute the business of our local government. Please grant us compassion and understanding in our deliberations and decisions. Please keep our constituents, friends, and loved ones safe and healthy during these uncertain times. Please watch over and care for our first responders, healthcare workers, and everyone working to bring us some sense of normalcy. God's name we pray. Amen. Amen. Follow me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. I get it. I will get it one day. That is
You'll be
my
fine.
commitment.
I've been hearing
We
you,
are-
I still ain't got it.
We are steps ahead of what we used to.
It throws me off every time.
Before we go, before we recognize visitors, maybe one day we can have a little plaque of the pledge up on the wall like City Hall does. That was always useful. We do have some visitors in the audience today. This is the recognition of visitors section. This is all I'm going to do. Hi. You were first last time, no?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Does it really matter? Does it really matter? Just usual business this week. Had a phone call from Rich Saunders due to the fact of everything going on in the world, the pandemic and the protests and everything. His company itself has been limited to staying at home because they have offices in California and other places. So their corporate office has told everybody to stay home, don't go out, don't do anything. So the meeting on the wind farms on the other end of the Bay County will be probably next week. He's going to give me a call next week, and we will get on to that. Other than that, it's just been regular business, running around looking at roads and things and everything else. So I'll pass it on.
Okay. Due to the bountiful rain that we got here, it brought back some old problems that we hadn't had in a good while. So we had some drainage problems in Papaya Street. So Road and Bridge, thanks to Ray and all of his crew, we went over there, and I think that we figured it out. Did you get some grade shot out there, or not yet?
Do that today.
Today, okay, they're gonna do shit. And we talked to the neighbor, so the neighbor, a new neighbor, might allow us to cut through his property and funnel it back over toward a pond they have in the back. So that will eliminate that problem. So we got that now. And I was working with Mr. Aliceda. They're on moving some connexes out of Ray's yard because he's about to run out of room over there. And we're working on that, and John Landis is fixing to get some stuff done out there. We're still working on the salary committee, and the OAC meeting was moved to this Wednesday, so we don't have that. And I have a BGA meeting this evening, so that's mine. All right, correct? Commit?
Couple of things, we had some drainage just like you did. It's unusual to have rain. When we have rain, we have drainage problems. So Road and Bridge have been fantastic about taking care of that. We had one individual whose house was built in a drainage channel. You can't understand how come the water keeps going in the back door, so we explained what was going on there. I want to spend the rest of my time left, we have documentation as to what had happened. I read the documentation on an individual that they had hired in our packet, and this individual said he'd take the job. They said, okay, you've got the job, come on to work. Well, then he didn't show up, and they called him, well, I don't have any clothes to wear. So they went to Walmart and bought him clothes, because all he had was shorts and one thing or another. Then he still didn't show up, and they called him and said, well, now, I've got an unemployment claim with another employer that I'm working on. And then he didn't show up to work, so they terminated him. But what I appreciate is the detail that they went to document exactly what happened to protect the county. So thank the SO and the jail administrator for doing that documentation. It's fantastic. The other kudos, we had a request to utilize the Tyler School building by the company that's looking at taking over what Head Start used to do here in B County. And I got a copy of the CCAD information, and I knew what we had done several years ago. The document, it was given to the county with provisions that if it was no longer used for that, it reverted back to the school district. Well, it was still showing up in CCAD as being owned by B County. So my shout out is to the county clerk's office. If you haven't gone in there to do a deed search in the last year or so, you're going to be amazed at what happened. I went in with the CCAD document, handed it to the clerk, and I said, I need to get a copy of this deed. Well, normally what would happen, they say, okay, follow me. And you would go in the vault, and you get on the ladder, and you get the document, and they're taking the copy. She went to the computer, within 30 seconds, I had a copy of the deed. It's automatic now. They put it in, it's printed out. You no longer go and get this 50-pound book on the ladder and do it. So my shout out to the county clerk's office. Good job. And I'll go with you, sir.
Hope you get to take all credit for that, I think, right?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Not my credit.
Thank you, Hope.
Please pass that on to your folks.
I will.
Judge, nothing but usual business. I did get the memo where Road and Bridge has started to, I know all this rain, the mosquitoes are here, and believe me, I know, because I go out and cut grass and get them. So thanks, Road and Bridge, for starting the mosquito spraying around the county. And next, buddy?
One more thing. Yes, sir. There's a lot of concern about oak wilt in the north part of the county. A&M is involved, the Forestry Service is involved. We have not gotten anything back yet. There's some folks in Pawnee that are ramrodding this. We don't know whether it's oak wilt or the drought, but what I'm beginning to see out in the county is this rain. Now, a lot of the trees that really look bad are putting on new growth. So I think a lot of this was stress from the darn drought. So we still haven't gotten that official word back yet.
Thank you. That's great. All good news. Thank you, guys. I'm sure I've done things over the course of the last 2 weeks. I'm sure I don't really remember from one day to the other. I think things are going okay. We can save all COVID-related discussions. We have an actual agenda item a little bit later on in today's agenda, so we can kind of touch base there with those efforts. I guess today marks the beginning of the earnest pre-budget process where Ms. Cantu and I will, I guess, start doing a lot of work, and she's nodding her head yes, so for those of y'all who can't see her on the computer screen. So I'm looking forward to that process and getting into it and seeing how we're going to stack up for next year. And I think that's really about it. I'm sorry I don't have more to summarize. I just can't remember exactly what's happened over the course of the last 2 weeks. Let's move on to public comment. Are there any members of the public wishing to speak today? Anybody signed in to speak today? Okay, we don't have anybody. It's not bad. Moving on to agenda item number 7. The following items are of an administrative nature. Commissioner's Court has been furnished documentation on each item, and all such items may be acted upon by one vote without being discussed separately, unless requested by a commissioner or county judge.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Ms. Cantu, do you have anything that you wish to clarify?
No, any
Are we gonna start
questions?
getting travel requests back as they open up a little bit more?
Well, there's, I want to say there's a couple in
I
here.
saw there was 2 in there, but are we gonna see an inflow?
I haven't really heard.
Okay.
I don't think so, but, I mean, I was kind of surprised to see, the ones that you're seeing, but obviously they're letting some happen.
Okay.
Well, I think they rescheduled the commissioners and,
Judges.
judges, in Corpus for August, I think. All they did was move all our reservations to August.
Over, okay.
That's
I
what
haven't,
heard.
I haven't heard of other ones, you know, doing that. I'm sure they're gonna be coming down.
Just accommodate you, sir.
That's very sweet of them.
We told them how special you are.
Does that mean I'm supposed to attend that?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
We'll get you a map, sir.
Candy, am I signed up?
Good.
Also, before we vote on this, I too was impressed with, Mike Page's letter, and the background.
Very
And,
detailed.
I'm sure in every instance it's not necessary, but certainly it adds context and color, so I echo Commissioner DeWitt's comments. All right.
I'd also like to echo, Ray Gonzalez. He has his people who turn in a lot of reasons, and Mr. Cantu especially, where
Yeah,
I
good
do
back.
appreciate that, and hope, pass it on to him. I hope he enjoys his time left that he's gonna spend with his family and everybody. He will be sorely missed.
How many years was he with the county?
He hadn't been here that long,
Okay.
about 4 or 5 years. He's an older person, but he'd been with us about 4 years, 3 years.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item deliberate and consider action on the following items. Agenda item number 8, proposed maps coverings rule for all B County buildings. Mr. Willow, I will turn the floor over to you, sir.
Thank you. Mike Willow, Emergency Manager, Risk Manager. First, I'd like to give you a little update on the COVID-19 before I go into this. At the present time, B County is credited for 22 COVID-19 cases. The last 11, give or take here and there, are from TDCJ. Now, we do not have any written press release from Department of State Health Services saying that, but I have been contacted by the phone that there are 11 cases that are credited to TDCJ. So having said that, I have a proposal in front of you, and granted, we need to write policy on it, but I think we should not let our guard down. I think we should, since everyone else, I feel on the outside is throwing caution to the wind, I would like to tighten up the bootstraps, as you will, to make it mandatory to conduct any business in any county building. The individual must apply and wear their own face covering or mask. Now, the city of Beeville has already started that. So that's something I just wanted to let you know. And we've been working joint step by step with them through this whole process. But if we do decide to do the face coverings to come in, we also need to do the monitoring as they come in with the thermometer, testing, hand sanitizer, questionnaire, to keep our staff safe and to keep the community safe. I just feel we need to do our part. So little things come to play, and I'm surprised that, not surprised, I have to read the CDC guidelines and I have to read that other stuff. But for example, we're only allowed to have 4 people in an elevator at one time, 1 in each corner. So that surprises a lot of people. You know, no one man in the middle to make it, they're actually pushing that 6 foot. If you're farther than 6 foot away, they're saying you don't need a mask. But, you know, like I said, I like to be cautious. So that's my proposal to the commissioners, to make that a rule in effect until they declare the pandemic over. So it's not a forever rule. It's just once the pandemic is deemed over in the United States, then we can do away with it. So.
In, thank you, Mr. Willow. In the event that a individual wants to access a county building and they don't have a mask, would that be a situation in which the county would provide them a mask, or what would happen there?
No, sir, they
in your
need to
mind?
go, they need to get one. It's written specifically for a face covering.
Mhm.
It could be a bandana, literally it could be a T-shirt, something covering the face to protect the droplets of moisture coming from them infecting anybody else. It's accepted CDC guideline. You know, now the mask that we do have would be for county employees and staff.
Is it your, recommendation, or should it be our interpretation of this policy, proposal that, employees and elected officials, when they're in, like, county employees, wear masks while they're in, or a face covering while they're working at county buildings?
Yes, it is, and it's simply because the virus doesn't care who you are.
Mr. Willow, one thing that I was asked, I had several people comment on this issue. You're a deputy now, you've been deputized, and you arrest a prisoner. Before you can take that prisoner into a county building, are you gonna mask that prisoner?
Why not?
And do the prisoners in the jail now have to wear masks all the time?
I'm sure the correctional facility has a different answer to all that, but if they don't, look at TDCJ. My goodness, they got 11 new cases in B County.
And you're gonna make them keep those masks on in the jail?
If they take them off, shame on them. So if we would like to change the rule to protect the incarcerated, well, then that the commissioners,
Does this include the incarcerated?
I did not have it, but Commissioner wants it to be the,
But that's what I'm understanding Commissioner Lee was asking.
In a minute.
We're gonna require each prisoner to wear, an incarcerated person in there. I can understand before we bring them in the building, they're not gonna have one, so we'll have to furnish them with that, at least the process. But,
and we have given the county, the jail, masks for the inmates. So,
Ms. You guys, you have this time, do you have a question or?
Laura Morning, Elections Administrator, your phone. I just wanted to, emphasize that we plan on using the county building, the Expo Center for early voting, and Secretary of State's already told us we could not make it mandatory for voters to wear masks. That's infringing on their right to cast their ballot. So we'll be in a county building then, and we're not gonna be able to tell it, we're gonna have it up there preferred, but we cannot require it.
And Mr. Willow, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but everything that we're talking about, CDC wants, they're recommendations. They're not law, they're recommendations, is that correct?
correct, they are very prudent recommendations.
I'm not gonna say they're not, but they're recommendations.
Yes, sir.
The feedback I've gotten on this issue, I'll make a motion, we take no action on this issue.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
We need that. Is it 100% of the time, or is it when you're sitting at your desk in your office, or are you gonna be wearing a mask all the time? Take it off?
At this moment, the motion fails.
Right, and the reason I say
Because-
that.
No, I got a question, as far as, you might amend
Well, we
it.
have to have a second.
I got it, okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay, we can bring it
Well,
up.
let me
if you wanna keep.
put a little bit more into that. Right now, each department head, each elected official operates their own office. Some do it one way, some do it another way. It seems to be working. I'll make a motion again that we take no action.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Okay, we can continue discussion.
Yeah.
How about this? We're going to be discussing in a later agenda item, agenda item 19, the existing commissioner's court orders that we have in effect right now, and amending those or supplanting them. Maybe we can all be quietly considering this proposal from Mr. Willow, and we can what's the word? Bring it back up?
Yeah, we did.
Thank you, revisit.
Well, the
One of
bottom-
those mornings.
The bottom line, whatever the court desires, I support.
Thank you, Mr. Willow.
So I'm not gonna go out and say, oh my God, they're doing this. No. If the commissioners feel that they you know, are good with it, then by all means, we'll support it. But as my job as a risk manager is to look out for the well-betterment of the individuals.
Yeah, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of all commissioners when I say thank you for bringing this to our attention and making us look at it. I appreciate it. It's a difficult issue to address.
I think what I'm looking at here is good, but we need a little more tweaking, and we need to discuss it a little longer, so. I think that's where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Because again, Ms. Mornix has brought up a very important fact, that the governor said nothing, you know, it's recommended outside.
We will be doing some,
Okay.
some, not all.
So, before I go, and thank you for letting me speak early, I have an appointment at 11 I have to make.
Yes, sir, no problem.
But, the National Guard has proposed a new program to visit, go, instead of having everyone come to the Expo Center, maybe go to some of the outlying, cities.
Oh, that'd be great.
Status. If you have an area in your, district that would be receptive to it, please give me a call. Like I said, I'll be out of the office today, but we could set it up, tomorrow. You know, it's, they're willing to, they're mobile, they set up right there, they actually really don't need a building. They can do it outside, but if we have a building, better for them, but they would like to do site visits, is what they're calling.
That'd be great. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Thank you.
If there's no other motions, we'll take no action on this item, and we can revisit the substance of the issue on agenda item. Thank you. 19. There you go. Okay, moving on, agenda item number 9, designation to Christus Pond Beeville of B County's preferred ambulance providers. And I've spoken, this is my agenda item, commissioners. I've spoken with Ms. Rucker a few times over the course of the last several months since I've been in office about a new change at Christus Pond. So Christus Pond's corporate office or their Corpus Christi division entered into a contract for the provision of ambulance services out of their emergency rooms and for hospital transfers with an entity out of Corpus Christi. That entity out of Corpus Christi has its fleet or its stable of independent ambulance operators, of which, as far as I am aware, neither Angel Care nor Freedom, which are the two local B County ambulance companies, are part of that stable. So, in effect, the practical effect of this economic decision and whatever reason that Christus Pond, whatever their good business practice reason was for entering into this agreement, whatever those purposes were, it has had a potential negative effect to our local ambulance companies. And I know this is something that we've looked at, we've addressed, and we've dealt with in the past, the value and the importance of having not only any homegrown, local, small, independent business, but especially first responders that have, you know, their families are in our community, they live down the road, and having a strong company or two companies that can support us locally. And so what I'm requesting the Commissioner's Court is to consider is that we issue some form of declaration or some sort of decision and directive to Christus Pond to let them know that in any instance where B County is going to end up paying for ambulance services from Christus Pond Hospital in Beeville, that we have elected to have those services be provided by either Angel Care or Freedom Ambulance. Now, a lot of our expenses with respect to transporting inmates from the jail or MHMR patients is actually performed now by a different professional transportation company, and they're doing a great job. This wouldn't impact any of that. This is only for the instances where, for whatever reason, B County is paying for an ambulance or is going to have to incur the cost of an ambulance we as the payor are telling Christus Spahn, these are the companies that we want. We want to elect that preference. Does that make sense?
Perfectly, it does, and I'm looking at it from the other side. Sometimes that's hard to determine initially on site.
Correct.
I know that we addressed this, and I was with Ms. Rucker in February, and we took some numbers in February. Out of 119 calls in that month, in February, 19 of those calls were done by Freedom, and 13 were done by Angel Care. But the reason Angel Care had 20 calls, but they couldn't make the other 7 when they were calling. So those are the numbers that were provided to me for that month. You know, I haven't gone to catch up with Ms. Rucker on the other months, but, and then they added another line at the bottom of their form. Judge, if you went up there and said, well, I request to be transported by Freedom or Angel Care, there's a form down there, a line that you check off on their form that there wasn't there before. So they've added that to their form. So they're trying, but, and the reason they explained to me that they're doing this is because this company that took over manages all their hospitals, and they can find a bed quicker for their patients. You know, whenever, because they won't, if they don't have room for them in one, then that company has a master switchboard, and they go, okay, go to Alice, go to Spawn Shoreline, go to the other one. So that's the reason they were doing it. It's hurting our local 2 businesses here because they went that way. And it's a contract they signed with that. That's just a little update.
You know, I would hate to be in a situation where, Mr. Jones, now, you gotta wait here on the curb because we don't have the right ambulance, and we gotta have one that serves B County. I don't wanna get in that situation either.
But these calls are being made from the hospital.
Correct.
Patients are already there, or bed. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm sorry, maybe I wasn't clear. I think the only thing that this would actually apply to is
One that
is-
we're paying.
is- yeah,
I
is one that
correct. I thought we
they
were
don't
talking
have
about
control.
calls out in the county.
No.
And so
Well,
really,
inmates, for sure, inmates, I mean, anything called in, you know, by our jail,
Should
should
be
automatically be, you know, for Angel Care Freedom.
Sheriff Southman, do you have any input or thoughts or anything?
No, as long as we can, locally, I agree, we keep Angel Care and Freedom at the top of this.
And I think that's really it, because, so for that, yeah,
If I understand it, it's once you're in the hospital, then Christus Spahn takes over, and they use that source. But as far as from here to the hospital, it's local.
Okay.
If that's what I'm understanding, Judge.
no, we, as Commissioner Fadigas indicated, now when you check in, you can list a preference for ambulance, so you could opt out of their.
Right, with the opt-out.
And Ms. Rucker has said the new system is going great, and they're having really good turnaround times, and
Yes,
it's
they are.
working the way it's indicated, and hopefully our local ambulance companies maybe can get tied in with them. But in the interim, although it may be largely symbolic, I think it's important for us to show our support to the local.
And also to mention, Ms. Rutgers gone above and beyond to try to work with the
She
county.
has.
You know, she's done everything she can to try to accommodate it, so I
I think that's
kudos
part
to
of
them.
this, you still can opt to use our ambulance.
Yes, sir.
But basically,
Yeah, but
they'll
if the
use
county
theirs
is paying
first,
for
unless
it,
you
like
opt
the
out.
insurance transfers, then yeah, we should use our local.
Yeah, so that's,
You make that in a motion?
Yes, so moved. I mean, if we're paying, if the county's paying for the transfers or the moves,
This is
it
what we
should
want.
be we should use Freedom and Angel Care as a service.
subject to it.
Subject to availability, yes.
In that order.
In that order, yes.
I second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Yeah, that's well. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 10, direct payment of $7,446.20 in legal fees incurred by Dr. Zishan Harani, MD, for reimbursement from the applicable B County Healthcare Fund as a part of our financial commitment to physician recruitment in B County. My apologies, that was wordy. This is my agenda item as well. The B County Healthcare Fund that this would be coming out of is Healthcare Fund 2, is that correct?
Fund
Okay.
23. Yes, and we've already, put these into our AP run for this week.
Okay.
So, if this is approved by the court, then, we can go ahead and send them out to
So
run
moved.
through.
Wait. So one big, this is a reimbursement, not a direct payment
It is
to the
not-
lawyers,
Yes.
law firms. Okay.
Yes,
So-
and that's what it stated in the email, and that's what we're gonna have as our backup, is this what Ms. Rucker sent, and her email
Okay.
stating such.
And then just for further explanation, so, a few years ago, the Commissioners Court kind of refocused, and activated some of the funds that we have to try to recruit and retain quality positions for our region. And it's been very successful. We have Dr. Slaughter now, who is there. Dr. Harani was recruited outside of that. And there has been there's no commitment, county commitment with respect to his employment. This is the only, component, and it's providing a solution that is difficult for, Dr. Harani is a brand new doctor, just out of, it's not just out of med school, I guess he's done his,
Residency.
thank you, my goodness. And he's completed his residency, so his financial situation is somewhat constrained, and Christus Bond, for numerous reasons, was unable to offset this expense. And so us jumping in continues that partnership that you guys started. So, no, I'm sorry, I cut.
Well, we are also paying, around 45,000, monthly for, I believe, the first year. That's my understanding.
For Dr. Harani?
Mm-hmm. I
Oh,
believe
okay.
so.
Oh, I thought it was Dr.
Yes, because
Slaughter.
it could
I
be
think it's
Dr. Slaughter.
the
Okay,
first year.
okay, yes, then I stand corrected, yes, but that is what we have started paying, and I believe we paid six
That's not just-
months.
Correct.
And this is additional
Yes,
to that.
yes.
I'll make a motion that we pay the $7,446.20 in fees.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 11, contract for juvenile detention services between B County and Aransas County. This is my agenda item as well. Oh, what did I say? Aransas, I'm sorry. Let me try again. Agenda item number 11, contract for juvenile detention services between B County and Atascosa County. If I fall down on the floor, somebody please resolve. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so this is a charity census, Ms. Franco sent this over last week. The only difference, this is a contract that we've participated in years past. The only change is the rate went from 95 to 110. And Mrs. Franco has clarified that this is really just a backup, that we never even have to engage, but if there is the need, then we have that.
This actually falls under housekeeping. I'll make a motion to accept this offer.
I'll accept, but I do have a couple of questions.
Okay, motion and second. Any further discussion?
The question, on the front page, it talks about B County being a applicable subdivision referred to as the contractor. But as you get back into the document, it refers to, Ms. Franco, and name of responsible party is Charity Franco, juvenile probation officer. Is this correct, or should B County be there, sir?
I don't know, but we can find out, and we can
It's several places,
approve it subject to that clarification.
because it talks about the contractor will maintain insurance on its account for any liability, and that's B County. So, and then in the back, it has, contractor by Charity Franco, chief juvenile probation officer, B County. I'm thinking that's just.
Should be authorized.
Well, but we're the one that pay that, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or do we send those people for detention? Who does that?
They will transport, that's all we do.
Who?
But the juvenile probation officer.
Okay, this may be correct then, but it's just a question.
I'll touch base with
Okay,
that.
I'll leave it in your hands, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Commissioner. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 12, lease agreement between B County and Upbring Head Start for land located at 300 South Sixth Street, Skidmore, Texas, to continue to provide Head Start services to eligible families in the Skidmore area. Thankfully, my time for speaking is now over. We have somebody in the audience who is here to make a presentation today. Please approach the podium, identify yourself for us.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. My name is Roxana Garza, and I am the Assistant Superintendent of Operations for Upgrade Head Start. And our agency was recently awarded the Head Start grant for Beeville, Live Oak, and Refugio counties, effective June 1st. And the agenda item is to request the use of land in Skidmore for Head Start purposes. The building on the property belongs to OHS, to Head Start, and it was conveyed from the previous grantee.
Okay.
Dollars and cents, what does that cost you, county?
$1 a year.
We get $1 a year.
Well,
$1 a year, that is a.
Whoa.
We got $1 in fiscal year 16 and 17 and in 19.
Yep.
So we did not in 18 and we have not yet in 20.
That's from the previous owner.
Well, that was from BCFS Education Services, the previous grantee.
Okay.
So technically, they're in default.
But there's
Well,
there's
for my
no other,
records.
I know.
Yeah,
y'all are working
technically.
strictly through the grant, there's nothing about the county.
No, correct. So maintenance, anything that has to be done to the building itself would be on us, lawn maintenance, things of that nature.
Commissioner, you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept this contract and, let's just,
For
the $1.
And
per
so
year.
for 20, does this lay on the old occupant or the new one?
This is,
Yes, but
Yeah, but
For
he's talking about is
the old one still
default.
owes us
the default
Take
payment.
$1 out of Commissioner Hager.
He's got it.
Are we gonna prorate the year?
I just want direction, I just want direction.
I got it.
Please pay your rent.
Yes, yes, sir.
I'll second it with
Yes,
a couple
please
of
pay
comments.
your rent.
Motion and second for the discussion?
Couple of comments, yes, sir. It's understanding here the landlord has no ownership or other interest in the building, we understand that. One thing that I would like, and Ms. Garza and I talked earlier, consider this a draft. Under cost and utilities paid for by Upbring Head Start, I would like to insert in there that the maintenance and air conditioning, heat pump repairs and all are your responsibility. We got into that at the old Tyler School. And then on the last page, it talks about damage or destruction of premises. It said, then the landlord shall restore the premise to a condition of at least as good as exists on the day hereof. If it's not our building, we shouldn't be restoring. I recommend we strike that.
That's, so if there's any draft, if Candy or someone can send it back to me, we can make those adjustments and I can send that back.
I think just for clarification, that was an old yard that Mr. Gonzalez had across the street. To return it back to its original state would be a clean slate.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So,
But
yeah, I agree with that wording there needs to be in there.
Your agency, where are they located at?
So Upbring Head Start, our corporate office is in Austin. However, we have Head Start throughout South Fort Worth, Brazoria, and Matagorda counties. So this will just add, we serve approximately about 1,000 children.
How did y'all come to this? Skidmore.
So we applied for the grant. BCFS, the prior grantee, they operate on a 5-year cycle. So as our 5-year was up, we applied for the grant and we were awarded the grant. So right now for B County, well, actually overall, we'll serve about 394 children. That's what we're funded for.
And historically, they've had 2 locations in B County to utilize the building and all in Skidmore, and then the old Tyler School, that at one time, B County had been given that school by the school district, but there was provision in the deed that if it was no longer used for that purpose, it reverted back to the school district, which is what it did.
So y'all went to the school district and got the okay for the Tyler?
We have not yet. Again, we were just awarded the grant in June 1st, but we are in,
That's what they're gonna see.
correct, right.
Ms. Garza, how many other counties does Upbring operate in?
We have ERAP, Somerville, Hood, Matagorda, Wharton, Brazoria, the counties here, Goliad, Live Oak, Refugio, and B. And I think I'm missing another county in South Fort Worth, but we have 7 centers in the South Fort Worth area. And we were awarded that grant last April.
And how long have you all been?
We've been in operation. Matagorda, Wharton was awarded in 2015, so that was our first grant. So we're growing exponentially.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think you did have a motion in a second. Any further
We
discussion?
did a motion, I was just like, wait, that was correct.
Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Ms. Garza. Agenda item number 13, road use and master road repair agreement between B County and Helena Wind LLC. Commissioner DeWitt.
This is in our precinct, and I think we have a representative from Helena Wind that might like to speak to us about this road use agreement.
Do you want me to comment, or is your other?
Well, the judge and I have been going through this for several weeks with Mrs. Goodwillie, and we had some corrections, one thing and another, and pretty much it's all taken care of. I noticed that the copy that we have still has the
Changes.
My bad. Those are the changes that'll be the final version. I just didn't get
Okay,
to
so
it
you're,
before,
okay.
before Candy had to publish it.
I think that's fine. I think it
You
just
know,
shows where
What we've done is,
That's great.
one thing we were concerned about was we didn't want the lines running parallel to the county right of ways. Have to deal with the landowners, so that was taken care of. We also have $200 bond per county road. There's 6 or 7 county roads. That was taken care of. Mr. Gonzalez, is everything the way you feel it should be?
Everything looks good.
Yeah, I'm okay with it, Judge.
Great. Yes, sir.
Then I'll make a motion, we approve the, road use agreement with the corrections that are shown. Go ahead and make the corrections and the additions, and we'll go from there.
I will second.
I have a motion and a second. Jen, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I'm so sorry. I thought there was a request, but we really appreciate everyone's work, in getting the draft to where it is today. I know a lot of effort went into it from both of you and from the road administrator, so appreciate that.
The
And,
feeling's mutual.
look forward to continuing to work with all of you and, hopefully make this much.
I just want to comment that this took a lot of effort from both sides and a lot of give and take, and I think this is really a workable plan, and I see us progressing more and more as we go along. So this is outstanding. Kudos to everybody who was involved in this, please.
Well, and let's send those kudos back to your table first, though, because you did the first road use agreement, broke the ground on that, and all we did was do some tweaking, so you did good, sir.
Everything's fluid. This one's fluid also, because the next one coming in on the south end will be, the judge and I'll be sitting down with that one and Mr. Gonzalez. So
Yeah.
there'll be a lot of different road agreements.
Good.
I think it's good for B County, being the fact that we have that only.
And for the public, basically what it amounts to is there's a written agreement as to if the roads are damaged in a certain way, they have to be repaired a certain way, and it protects the county and the county taxpayer. Because like I say, there's a bond that they have to put up $200,000 per county road, and there'll be several impacted in North B County if the project goes forward.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Goodwillie. No further discussion. I'd entertain a vote. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 14, project expenditure approval for Turner Construction change order request COR number 134R1-RFI tank clearance for the Sheriff's Office new jail.
Move to approve as presented.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Agenda item number 15, PEA for Walker Engineering invoice dated May 2020 for the Sheriff's Office new jail.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 16, contract amendment number 4, requesting extension of contract time between ECM and B County for the Sheriff's Office new jail.
Move to approve with comment.
I have a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second.
Looking through that amendment, I noticed where a lot of the kitchen facilities are in place and one thing or another. And my comment is, has Community Affairs been advised yet to do their initial inspection?
Oh, yeah, they did.
Good. Okay.
And also, I did want to say that this is just for time extension, not any money, any additional funds.
Good to hear that.
Well, there you go.
No.
Yes,
Mr. Picard, Ernie's here.
Ernie's here.
That's it.
Good job.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 17, update on increased dollar amount of applications submitted to the Texas Department of Transportation, TxDOT, for the Transportation Infrastructure Fund TIF grant program for county road repairs approved during the April 3rd, 2020 special call meeting. This is generally and Ms. Cantu might give me more meat, but basically during the grant process, there's additional money that we can apply for the total amount of the grant has increased. Is that right?
I believe that's what, that's what drives this number. And in the original one that came through court, I believe it had a $29,000 figure. And this is the one that was submitted because we had to submit within that time period. So I just wanted to make sure that this went through court.
And for the clerk's, paperwork, the amount we're looking at is $604,375 for the grant.
Yes, and the match, the county match is $60,438.
Right. Now, is this the one that, Mr. Gonzalez is working on? Is this
Yes.
the one you submitted? Yes, okay.
Yes,
This
this
is not
is
the
the
one for
application.
the road barricades for the safety stuff.
The mitigation,
Right.
this is not mitigation,
Okay.
this is TIF,
This-
for the
okay.
TechStop.
Do we have a motion?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll,
motion and a second?
Yeah, and I'll second that.
okay, I'll move to approve this, agenda item.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 18, authorization to issue requests for proposals for administrative services and requests for qualifications for engineering services related to community development block grant mitigation Cdbg-Mit grant programs administered by the Texas General Land Office.
Move to approve, these are.
Do we have some of those projects in
We've done
line?
it in the past, and
No.
they're usually around $500,000, and a lot of times they are building new homes in blighted areas or redoing a home. Usually, correct me if I'm wrong, Martha, we do this, and then they go out and see what we have that might fit the parameters. But right now, we don't have a parameter exactly.
We have some parameters.
We have
I
a
was
few.
gonna say, we do,
This one, no,
Yeah.
yes.
Did you have a few?
This one's interesting. This is a $1 million to $3 million project. It's a single project, and it does have to roll into that hazard mitigation. I'm sorry, I had to pull it up on my text.
Yeah, I was reading
message this
through
morning.
it.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at
Um,
earlier.
And so it's on the agenda. We'd like approval at this time, but we also want, all the commissioners to start putting our heads
Identifying
Thinking
something,
about a
identifying the project.
of the scope that
Yeah.
could qualify for this grant.
Yes, because we do need,
It's a total of $3 million.
somebody from the court to take, head of this,
Is it
should we
limited
go
to
forward.
one project?
Limited to one project.
Something like that is usually the flood control or.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the channel station or.
And we've got the other one we're working on with the channelization too. We throw two rocks and
the
might get
TIF?
something.
Yes, the TIF is in your precinct, correct?
Yes.
So, yeah, so at this time, we're just looking for authorization to move
Would
forward
you,
and
yes,
get everybody to start thinking about.
I'll make a
possible
motion to
projects.
move forward with this project.
I'll second.
All right, motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen.
Maybe we can build a bridge.
Yeah.
Agenda item number 19, consideration of further action regarding Commissioners Court orders entered in response to COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, y'all will remember at the beginning of,
Great.
yeah, it's been a long 4 months. We entered 3 Commissioners Court orders. They dealt with reducing the, access points in the county courthouse to 2 and setting parameters for check-in stations. And we authorize our elected officials and department heads to craft and operate their offices utilizing alternative work scenarios that fit their needs and their desires while still providing the same services, albeit on a different basis, to our county since we never closed down. Or did we just do 2? Yeah, I guess that was it. And the third was we declared a state of emergency. So at this time, we're well along in the governor's path to reopening the state. We have, of course, Mr. Willow's proposal that we can bring up as well, but to begin with, my thought process is that we, rescind, end, whatever I would ask Andy, whatever the process is, to, remove our order authorizing elected officials and department heads to, work from home. Most of our county offices have already, if not all of them, have already, come back to full-time, every time not working from home, but working in the offices. And this would just make it more uniform, countywide. I don't recommend that we, personally, I don't recommend that we change the restricted courthouse entries, because I recommend that we maintain the, testing, check-in station and maintain it being a requirement for everybody entering the courthouse on their first time. We do have the supplies now we can provide. I believe Mr. Will is not here to confirm this, but I'll just go ahead and commit him to it. We do have the supplies to set up, testing stations at every county building that is regularly staffed by, our offices. If that is something that Commissioner Court wants to, consider, but for purposes of the courthouse only, and some of our other departments, they've had them set up anyway, they've been doing it themselves for many months. But with respect to the courthouse, a large part of the function of the courthouse, of course, is holding court, and the Texas Office of Court Administration is still requiring pretty stringent, pretty stringent list of obligations that the county and the judges must provide in order to hold in-person hearings in court. And one of those components is testing every person that comes in. So it works, being down, I think there's minimal, disturbance of an individual's day, by having the test, the check-in station there, the rotunda, and so my recommendation is we just leave that as it is, but that we remove the component of authorizing elected officials and department heads to, conduct remote work. They can follow CDC guidelines and continue to open and operate the way the rest of, our government offices.
I think all the departments can open and operate safely
And
and give the
follow
public,
the guidelines.
give the public, full access to the courthouse,
Yes, sir.
from our regular hours like we used to.
Yeah.
And they can still do it safely.
And they still have to check in.
Yeah, as
So
long
anybody
as we
that gets caught
maintain
there
what we
with-
have now, I don't have to stop that.
Do y'all want to,
That's the gist of the, I guess, to get back to work,
yes.
or to open for our full 8 to 5 hours, or.
Yeah, so,
And
yes,
no
sir.
more remote working from home?
So, this is an interesting question. As an independent elected official, I'm not sure that I have the authority to dictate how Sheriff Southmaid operates his office. We can provide guidance, suggestions, or recommendations, but I don't think we can tell him, you can't let people work. I'm picking on you just because you're here and I'm looking at you. We can't tell, and it's obviously, your guys are working all the time anyway. But, if you wanted to let a secretary work from home because they had, some issue that they had to deal with, there's no recourse. You have that authority. Anyway, when we initially entered this, it was at the request of one elected official. I'm not even sure that it's necessary, but it provided sort of that blanket uniformity across, and it did give authority to the department, which I don't think.
Judge, if you will, we approached this same subject several years ago, Commissioner Haggard, Commissioner John, with the county clerk's office on some issues, and we got some rulings from TAC and one thing and another, and that is their budget. They're an elected official, and they more or less run their office. And the court cannot say, you're gonna do this, this, this. Now, there's certain things you can do, but that is their independent office as an elected official, and it's set up in the law that way if, court decides they don't like a certain elected official, they can't take away their budget, they can't do this, they can't do that, because it's set, and they administer their budget the way it's set up. And what you're saying is absolutely correct. We can recommend that, this, but I think that an elected official that says, well, I want Ms. Jones or Mr. Smith to continue working from home, that's their call. That's the way I see it.
I agree with that. I mean, we can at least pull the order and make it
Yeah.
a recommendation that each department handle within their own, their employees, their people that work there. And we can go from there. And it's just our recommendation, our strong recommendation that in the interest of B County and bringing the fact that we're going back to business, that you try and bring them all back into them. So they can see everybody and they know we're a functioning unit and we're moving in a forward direction. So, but again, as Commissioner DeWitt said, we went through that there are only certain things we can do with each department. And that's it. We can't tell you how to run your department. We can only hand you the funds you need to run your department. That's it. So, and it's worked out very well for us. But again, that's my take on it. I think we just make our Commissioner Court strong recommendation that you bring people back to work.
I totally agree with keeping the, station in the courthouse. And
Yes.
sanitizers around like the bailiff has done. I think it's excellent. I really do.
And again, with Mr. Willow's, comments that he can do every building, I think that's great. But it's again, the recommendation of the owners of that, not owners of the building, but the people that fill that building, the department heads that have that building.
As far as
Wanting to have a station and do all of that, the same measures that we do here. Again, Commissioner's Court, strong recommendation is that you follow these guidelines. And we go from there.
So, so far I've got, we'll rescind our order, allowing alternative work schedules for some of the COVID-19.
I think the word will allow it to expire.
Okay, well,
Just instead of percent.
okay, so, okay, so we'll make a motion to allow it
Allow it to expire.
effective
Today.
okay,
Okay.
and then we can continue.
Your turn and I'll.
I'll make a motion that, we allow the current orders to expire effective at, 12/01 today.
I'll second that.
I have a motion. Any further discussion? We're gonna keep going. We're not done.
Okay.
Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Okay, continuing on with this agenda, item, do we want to make any formal, give a formal, direction, or just, this is our encouragement to the department heads and to elected officials to reach out to Mr. Willow about setting up their own check-in station to some degree if it works for them? Anybody have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think we could get with, I would entertain that to ask Mr. Willis to meet with the building occupants, I'm gonna say owners because we own them, but the occupants of those buildings and get their take on it and if we.
And give his recommendation.
And take his recommendations from that, so.
Let me throw something out. Let's say that we make this recommendation, and we have one department in the courthouse that says, I want everybody tested. And then another department says, I don't want them tested. It's gonna create a lot of confusion. I think we really need to be careful with this. I really do. I know that the reaction I got when I sent that agenda out was swift and hard against that. It was swift. And I was confronted, and I'm gonna use the word confronted at a breakfast on Friday about it. And, everything was negative against it. Everything. That they didn't feel like that the government should be telling them they had to have on masks before they could go into a building. And the next question they asked was, if I have to have on a mask, then does the whole staff have to wear their mask all day long? And I'm not sure that's where we want to go with it. I'm really not. I think we need to be very, very careful with it. That's the reason I wanted to make the motion to take more action and think about this some more before we go any further with it. I feel very strongly about it. The people that talked to me felt even stronger about it than I did.
Setting aside the issue of the mask, Commissioner, with respect to check-in stations, do you have the same strong opinion?
Yes, I do. Okay. It's just me, and the perception that I have that, okay, I come in the courthouse, but before I go in the county clerk's office, and I'm just using it as an example, I have to have be tested. Well, how long is it gonna take to get the test back? And I wanna go in now and take care of my deed work.
A test, like a COVID or test for temperature?
Well, that's already done.
Okay, well,
Yeah, but that's what he's saying.
Okay, I thought the way they were talking about when they're testing for
No.
COVID.
No,
No, no.
You're talking about a temperature test.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have the equipment to do the temperature test?
absolutely.
I believe so, Mr. Willow.
Mr. Willow has-
Did he get a
He
bunch of-
Yeah, he also ordered
Yeah,
He gave a list.
he
enough,
did.
enough for every
Filled out
department.
lists, the offices
Not,
he had
not
for.
enough for every department.
He ordered.
He did order additional, and I just approved, one for one of the courthouse departments to get their own supplies because they were not participating in the front desk, and so they have, you know, per Judge Morrell's direction, that if you're not participating with the setup of the table, then you need to provide your own screening of the customers that come
Okay.
into your office. So,
If that, I thought we were testing for COVID-19.
Oh,
If
no.
it's a temperature, it's a temperature test.
yeah, it's
That's
just
no
a
big
temperature,
deal.
and then the questionnaire.
And the question
that they're in
that's
finance.
also gonna take a staff member from that department to sit in the hall or wherever.
That's for the courthouse. For instance, in my office, Mr. Willow helped us implement the same procedures that are going on here in order to gain entrance into my office.
She just doesn't let you in.
We have, well, that could happen too, or we're gonna take your temperature and write your name down. So
I know we got
that's
a
about as much as we
Situation
get.
at the post office, they wouldn't let us take your temperature.
Right, and that came down from their main office, correct, that's correct. So it is tricky, it's tricky.
I'm thinking if we still let the individual departments make that decision.
Well, that was mine. I mean, we let him meet with Mr. Willow. Mr. Willow tells them what his recommendations are. They follow those
I have
recommendations.
no problem with that.
Again, coming from the Commissioners Court, our strong recommendation is that you follow Mr. Willow's guidelines
On the temperature test.
of the temperature test.
I'll
Also,
second your motion.
wear the mask. His recommendations, you wear it, okay, that's fine. But if they say, well, we don't want them to wear masks, that's fine, that's their decision. But our recommendations, these are all recommendations. Because just like you said, they go to the expo to vote, the governor's already said not gonna happen. So you have to bend these a little bit here and there. Again, it's the freedom that we're allowed, and I understand that. I have a different opinion of that, and I'm fine with what we want to do. But, anyway.
So that's something, you made a motion or?
I'll make a motion that we use Mr. Willow to meet with the department head and and promote our recommendation, but allow the decisions to be made by each department head as to the testing and the mask and his recommendation.
Are we giving department heads and elected officials the express authorization to require masks of everybody entering their building?
That's what
That's something.
let's
you got a problem
go on
with?
one motion at a time. On the temperature, let's do the temperature motion first.
Okay. It'll be the same, it'll be our recommendation for Mr. Willow to meet with them
I'll second that on the temperature.
and do the temperature.
That's needed.
I have a motion and a second, any further discussion? And I can talk to him, work through my office to make sure that he gets it all done. Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Moving on, in the same agenda item, sorry, we get to the soup to nuts, right, the whole mask issue. I think I'm hearing from several of y'all that this is something not to be, run into headlong, that further consideration and diligence should be made, and that we just haven't done that yet.
That's my take, Judge, and I appreciate you putting that thing, because the response I got was rapid and hard.
I'm sure you got it from a certain political group, okay? I personally am more concerned about the health of the employees, or the safety, the health, what have you. And, I kind of agree with Mike. I was in South Padre a couple of weeks ago, and every department store would go into, the door would say, you weren't allowed to enter unless you had a mask on. And obviously, we put a mask on. So it's something that is common right now, due to what's happening. So that's my take on it. I concur with Mike. I would agree with Mike. We'll see what it is. Okay?
Well, the only thing is the court can recommend.
Yeah,
Can't.
that's all it is, right?
Is that elected official.
see, what, the way it's crafted in the agenda, I'm just requiring.
Into our building, the building,
what it-
we're the
yeah,
custodians,
into the courthouse.
we're the custodians of the
Any,
building.
any
Or-
building.
yeah.
Any of the courthouse or the tax
And
office, right?
the building falls under the commissioner's court, okay, so that's why it's worded
If,
that way.
if you really want to get technical, safety and security courthouse falls under the sheriff.
So, almost-
It really does.
He's taking a
Sheriff, do you have
back
any
there.
comments?
He's about to walk out of here.
He didn't leave quick enough.
He's also learned not to sit in that chair much more anymore. Sit over in the corner, hide behind somebody.
Judge, I would recommend that we look at this a little further and maybe hold the community a little bit before we even make a strong recommendation that everybody has to wear a mask, because I don't, if I were an employee in the courthouse or another office and I'm required to wear a mask, it's gonna be interesting.
What mine brought up is not about the employees, it's about people coming into the courthouse to conduct business. That's his request on the item. Nothing having to do with employees, it's inmates, right? It's people
Well,
coming in to conduct
I'll
business.
say again though,
That's it.
if you're a deputy and you arrest somebody, if we have a requirement, they have to have a mask on before they enter the jail, you got a mask.
But again, our recommendation is a mask on. The sheriff has the right
Well,
to go in with, yes.
that's already,
And I agree, Commissioner, I've had calls on both sides. I've had calls where, why aren't we doing it, wearing the mask? And two, I've had calls that I'm not gonna wear a mask because I live in the United States. And I understand both sides of the argument. And I have my personal opinion, and that's as far as I'm gonna go with that. But I've had calls on both sides. I can't even, and it's not that many, I mean, I'm not talking hundreds of calls, but I've had calls both sides.
And what happens is, a lot of these businesses now, in fact, we have it early,
Yeah.
so those employees really don't have to have an, they've already been chilled from that individual, or they're chilling themselves from that individual also, so that takes care of the portion that they have to wear a mask.
you know, right now, it's working like it is without any formal, strong recommendations or actions.
Leave it alone.
That's my opinion.
I think it's up to the individual. We require it. There's many people that are gonna fight, not comply, and then who's gonna police it?
Yes, enforcement is a big issue.
Yeah, who's gonna
That's a practical problem.
Right. And I'm standing at the door, and I need to go in and see the county clerk, but I don't have a mask, and I don't have a bandana. And you're telling me I have to have it. I don't want to go there. I just feel like that we shouldn't go there.
Get on, vote on it.
At this point, I'd entertain a motion to table if we want to leave on this part, and I think we can with Michael.
Make the motion again to take no action.
I have a motion to take no action. I have any further, or do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes, motion passes 3-2. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you. Moving on, agenda item number 20, request safety study of State Highway 181 north near Norman, Texas.
Gentlemen, this is my item, and it's basically because of the tragedy that occurred on the 29th, fatal accident, occurred where the Medio Creek Bridge is between there and Beeville. There's a low spot in the road. At one time, there was an overpass, a railroad overpass there, it was taken out, yes, years ago because of the accidents that were occurring because of the overpass. Well, what happened, basically, and I've drafted a letter here for the area engineer in Torrance County. And what I've done, when I sent the agenda out, I made sure that Torrance County got a copy of the agenda, Mr. Novosad. I've already noticed they've already taken additional action up there. There are already signs about the road flooding. Well, they put an additional sign out from that with orange flagging up. You want to read this in the record and go from there, Judge? Or have you? Sure. Yeah, why don't we do that? Let me, bear with me, let me read this. And this is just a draft, and the court can change this any way they want. But it goes to Texas Department of Transportation, Nick Novosad, he's the area engineer in Karnes City. Reference traffic accident with fatality 42920 State Highway 181 south of Norman, Texas, near 911 address 6736 North Highway 181, immediately south of former railroad overpass. Reference is made to the above single fatality near head-on accident occurring May 29, 2020. Ms. Victor Lissy was killed in a reportedly near head-on collision in a vehicle with a pickup pulling a trailer. B County Commissioners Court respectively requests a safety study be done as soon as possible on this stretch of State Highway 181 from approximately 1/4 mile minimum above and below the low point in the highway, each direction from existing under-highway drainage, to ascertain if there are safety methods that can be deployed to help prevent this type of accident from reoccurring. 2 factors are requested from B County to review in particular: speed limit and surface road conditions. Anecdotal statements indicate hydroplaning may have been a causative factor in the vehicle crossing over the center line. There currently exists a sign posted, "Road may flood" on each approach to this area. B County Commissioner Dennis DeWitt relates a similar experience a few years ago while pulling a dual-axle drag-type trailer with cattle heading south up the hill in a light rain. He reports the following incident occurred in almost the identical locations of the recent accident. He reports coming up the hill, driving approximately 50 miles an hour from the low spot where water crosses under the highway. He indicates the rear wheels of his personal 1.5 ton pickup lost traction, resulting in significant loss of control, with resultant fishtailing of his vehicle and trailer. No accident involved. He indicated his tires were excellent on both vehicles and tire pressures were specified. He states he thinks the slick road surface combined with water sheeting, rainfall was very light, contributed to the adverse action. It is possible a shift in cattle weight in the trailer toward the rear slightly lifted the rear of the pickup, contributing to the adverse action experience. Commissioner DeWitt states that if he were been traveling at legal speed limit, which is 75, he believes he might have completely lost control. He vividly remembers the incident. I brought this up Friday to a group of law enforcement people. Mr. Steve Martin was a deputy years ago, and had the rain was falling in that same area. He was in his patrol unit. He had his overhead lights flashing, and he pulled to the side to slow traffic down. When he pulled to the side, he looked coming from North Manor, coming down that hill. A vehicle had lost control and was fishtailing and literally ran into his patrol unit in that same site. Also, at this breakfast I was at was the local DPS sergeant. He said there was another fatal accident in this exact location in January. So I think there's something hinky here with this highway situation. I don't know what it is. It seems to occur when it wasn't raining hard the day I was there, but there was a light sheet on the road surface. There's something about the road surface. There's something about the angle of the curve. There's something there that occurred. And I think that at requesting a safety study from TxDOT to do this, I think they're more than willing to do this. We've had at least 2 fatal accidents this year. Is very prudent, Judge. And I will put this in your hands to wordsmith this any way you feel is appropriate, and I'll make a motion that this be put together by the county judge and sent to the engineering quantity.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Thank you, Commissioner DeWitt, for spearheading this. Do I have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Thank you again.
Yes, sir.
Agenda item number 21, engagement letter between B County and Singleton and Clark for fiscal year 2020 audit.
Move to approve housekeeping.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
How many years in a row is it?
I believe this is 6. I believe this is 6.
No, but it's recommended for the same firm.
There is, it's a professional service, so we can either go out or not. I feel, and I've explained to the court before, that it takes longer than 5 years for, an audit firm to come in and really get their hands on the different departments and be able to research and get in there. And so that's where I feel we're at. The first few years was really difficult. Our CAFR is a monster. It's huge, and it just takes time to get in there. And I feel like they're just barely kind of getting
So just getting to know the department.
Yes, definitely.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Thank Agenda item number 22, consideration and action to enter an order authorizing the issuance of general obligation refunding bond series 2020 to levy an ad valorem tax within the limitations prescribed by law for the payment of said bond, delegating authority to certain county officials and staff for executing certain documents relating to the sale of said bonds and other matters in connection therewith. Ms. Cantu?
Yes, I have Mr. Quiroga here that would like to speak to the court about refinancing. These are our 2012 bond. We have maybe 6 years left, 5 years? Okay. And so he would like to discuss an option that we have on the table for you.
Mr. Quiroga, welcome. Please
Thank you very
proceed.
much. Thank you very much. Honorable County Judge, Commissioners, thank you for having me here this morning. For the record, my name is Victor Quiroga with Specialized Public Finance, and we have the honor of representing the county as your financial advisors. One of our roles as your financial advisor is not only to help you finance new projects, but also to monitor the market and see if there's any refinancing opportunities for the existing debt that you have outstanding right now. So we prepared a very brief presentation for you. I think it's already in your packet just to highlight this refinancing opportunity. And so here, it got a little scary right when the pandemic started. Interest rates was really skyrocketed. We haven't seen that in quite some time since the 2008 financial crash. And so, but the good news is that since that time, interest rates have gone down pretty dramatically and actually now lower than what they were before when they were pretty low. And so we conducted an analysis and have been for the past 12 to 18 months to see if the refinance would come up. So right now, the county has 2 bond issues outstanding: the general obligation refunding bonds through 2012, the one that we've identified for a refinancing opportunity. The original issuance was a certificate obligation back in 2003, so we've already refinanced that one time. Yeah. And so, so right now we have about 5 payments left, and the other bond that we have outstanding is the jail financing, the certificate obligation through 2017. Those are not eligible to be refinanced under federal law until 2026. So we have a little bit of time before we could look at that for any refinance opportunity. So the only one that remains that is eligible to be refinanced is the 2012 issuance. And so based on current market conditions, we could potentially refinance that at an interest rate of about 1.34% right now. If we were to do nothing and just keep it as is, the interest rate that we pay about 3.3%, and that's a fixed interest rate. So the way we're able to generate the savings is just by switching a high interest rate for a low interest rate. We're not going to extend the original repayment term of that bond. We're still going to be paying them off in 2012. And so within this document, we showed you that the annual savings will be about $19,000 to $20,000 per year over the next 5 years, so 2025. The action that you're considering this morning doesn't lock in any interest rates yet. We still have to finish getting the documents ready. All you're doing is you're delegating the authority, the Commissioner's Court, to the county judge or Ms. Cantu to sign the final document once we're ready to go into the bond market. We're looking at early July to conduct what we call a competitive sale. We'll bid it out, and whoever gives us the lowest interest rate on these bonds will be the winner of the bonds. And what you're doing is you're delegating the authority to the county judge or Ms. Cantu to sign the final document. So we won't have to come back and schedule a bond sale at a regular court meeting. It just gives you a little bit of flexibility to go into the market when it does suit the county commissioners. Yes, sir.
It looks like the way this is, it'll save the county approximately $100,000 by refinance.
Yes.
And that's after fees are
Correct.
taken out?
Yes, sir. Those are the net savings.
Okay.
What are the costs?
Typically for a transaction this size, we're looking about $20,000 in that range, and so that's already been taken out.
Judge, I'll make a motion that we approve allowing consultants from Ms. Cantu to prepare the documents necessary to obtain a lower interest rate, and also with you to be able to sign the document. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you for having me today.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 23, budget amendment request regarding Camacho recycling contract for hauling and landfill fees, unforeseen increase in cost to dispose waste. I put this on the agenda, Mr. Gonzalez, just to give Commissioners Court an opportunity to allow you to explain to us kind of what's going on and why this dramatic cost increase has occurred. Maybe ask you to read the tea leaves and tell us what this bodes for the future.
Untitled Road Administrator. Back in July the 26th, we had Mr. Camacho sent an email wanting to update the contract. And we did, in August the 26th, we updated our contract. So when we updated our contract, we didn't adjust, or we didn't put it in our budget. So we were operating under the previous budget. So, that plus the fact that we've had just a lot more people dumping, a lot of more illegal dumping. But the main blow to this would be, us not budgeting for the updated contract.
So we were operating off
Was that
of
correct,
18 numbers.
Well, yes,
need to add
because, Ray did mention to me that extension, I guess, came in when we were already gonna adopt the budget. So we did not, he reminded me of that, because I did not remember that. So no, we did not adjust the budget.
It wasn't accounted for, basically.
Yes. We amended,
It came in too late.
Yes, and it was in August, and in August, we're already ready to adopt. Yes,
Do you see
and,
this as a trend, is the more usage, more dumping, more?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve this, budget amendment.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah,
and just, oh, I'm
Go ahead,
sorry.
no, go
No,
ahead.
just to note that this department is located in the general fund, so the general fund will see this $100,000 increase going forward. So just heads up on
Okay, okay.
That's something we're gonna have to budget for this year.
Thank you, Ray.
That wasn't budgeted last year.
It's good to know now.
Well, my comment is, he's right, the illegal dumping, and just, I mean, I go to the collection site at least weekly, and when they're stacked outside on the road, that's a lot. And I go, and you drive by there like a Thursday, and everything's fine, and Saturday morning, they're crushing it, can't even get it in there anymore. There's a lot of people, and I thank the people who are cleaning up, really and truly, they're trying to clean up. I can't answer for Normanna, but I do know Skidmore's a lot, and then there's still a lot on the roads elsewhere.
Well, and I can answer for Pettis and Toledo, they've had cleanups up there recently, and that stuff has come into our system, so we got a cleaner county, and that's a good thing.
If anybody had ever a chance to look on the website for TxDOT, the amount of money they spend just to clean up the state highways, it's mind-boggling. It's $400,000 to $500,000 to clean up a section of road in our county. That's just state road. That's what they spend. That's not just mowing, that's picking up trash. So it's just something that's gonna be
Also, just for your information, our revenues have not gone up. So I know that in the past, the court has not wanted to raise any kind of, collection fees, but these are being imposed on the county. So just, for your information.
I'm actually getting phone calls for this to lower the rate.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, tell our vendors
Here's the bag,
that.
and they
Tell
wanna
our
lower the
vendors
rate.
that. Yeah,
Mr. Gonzalez can answer to that.
and I know he's getting a lot
yeah.
more tires too, so that's in the same vein. It's all impacting his budget.
So the general fund.
Yes,
Yes,
I don't-
general fund,
yes.
and our taxpayers. I mean,
Yeah.
It's laying on them whether in one way or
They see it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 24, Klausner Equipment Company, Inc., credit application for Road and Bridge.
Move to approve? Second.
Yeah, I have a question.
We got a motion and a second.
Is this for whatever we're getting with it, or what do they supply? If you don't mind me asking.
It's for a conveyor belt for that chip spreader,
Oh,
and this is just a new vendor that needed our credit application.
okay.
That's already,
So it's just maintenance items.
yes.
Good deal.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Agenda item number 25, Hilliard credit application for emergency management.
Motion to approve.
Yeah, the second. Motion and a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll be do not have any executive session items today. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Have a motion and a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you all out there. Proud. Yeah, man. When you start, I don't know.
We got a nutrition spot.
Start getting
Doing all right.
Ben, I heard you didn't have one of your little,
Getting ready for next year? I'm
I haven't had
Yeah, I don't know what